Why do older people talk about their health problems? Hey, AI overview. Thanks for this poster, Bill. I'll use this as the lead-in and describe what I'm going to be doing today. Episode 666, The Sphincter Awakens. 50 years in the making. This is it, the mountain of manure you've been waiting half a century for. And it doesn't even have Jar Jar. Misa think this is a piece of shit! So, okay. About a year ago, I read this section of the unnamed reality book about why older people talk about their health problems and their ailments at lunch. Well, I just finished proofing that segment of the book. I'm way behind. I'm a month behind where I should be. When I read these chapters to you, they were very rough. There's a ton of work that needs to go into this book to clean it up, to start getting the PDF out to you guys. And if anybody, you could go print it on your own. I'm not going to sell it or anything like that. But I figured I've got one more read through as to why older people continuously talk about their ailments. I figured why not just read it to you now, make a video out of one more read through, one more proof. I'll just present it as a video. And by the way, if anybody can submit it to the New England Journal of Medicine, I should win the goddamn Nobel Prize for this. Now, parts of what I'm going to read to you are funny. You know why it's funny? Because it's true. It was just all made up. It wouldn't be funny. It's funny to you and me because it resonates. It hits home as to being true. People are sitting down with their friends trying to create a personal moat against death. Now, I don't think the psychological world or the New England Journal of Medicine realizes this. So before I read it to you, I want to make sure this isn't common knowledge. And Matt, you think you hit on something. Everybody knows that. I don't think so. I don't think the psychological, logical world understands this. So let's spend 5 or 10 minutes seeing what the experts say as to why older people constantly talk about their ailments, see what the reasons are, starting with the, hey, look, AI overview. Aren't we lucky, Mom? AI. Oh, and the AI overview pops up. Oh, my gosh, I get so warm and fuzzy inside. It makes my day. We'll start with that nonsense horse shit, and then we'll go on and see if anybody's talking about the real reason. And if not, I'll tell you the real reason. And I'm not making fun of older people. I can say this because I am older people. I'm in almost my mid-50s. The one time a year I get together with somebody that could be called a friend, they're old and they talk about their ailments. So I'm in the middle of it. I'm not making fun of anybody. If I had more friends, they'd talk about more ailments. That's maybe why I stay away from my old friends. I don't want to hear about ailments. My knee hurts. I want to have a knee replacement. I don't hear about that horse shit. So let's start in the place where any smart human would begin, with the Google search, hoping and praying for the AI overview. Then the AI overview pops up and see it's at its infancy stage. It's teaching the human that you don't even need to go to websites anymore. It says to you, I'll tell you what is what in this reality. And if you don't believe what I tell you, you're a conspiracy loon. It's training the human. You don't even need to dive into the web anymore and go to the University of Cornell website. The AI overview will tell you what reality is. And then your friends can come to you and say, Matt, there is no conspiracy. So I assure you, I haven't looked at this. I haven't looked up. It's funnier if we do this together on the fly. Okay, I asked Google and the AI overview came up. I haven't looked at it. Why do old people say go out to lunch and complain about their health problems and their ailments? Okay, I doubt it's going to say what I'm saying. As a moat and a buffer against death because they love the world. That's my theory and I'm sticking to it. And I'll prove it. Okay, older people may talk about health problems for a number of reasons, including sharing the burden. It can be helpful to share health risks with friends and family to help regulate emotions and feel secure. Share the burden to help regulate emotions and feel secure. The other 3 friends at lunch are just dying to talk about their ailments. They're just waiting for you to be done with your part so they can spew out theirs. This doesn't make any sense. Processing events. Being sick or having surgery can be difficult to process, and sharing with others can help. This makes Google, this is not impressive at all. This makes absolutely no sense. There's no legitimacy so far. Social connections. Strong social connections can positively impact health, and people with strong social connections are less likely to experience certain health conditions. Google, this AI overview, this makes no sense. They already have the problem, corn, gout, or ailment. It's not to keep them healthy. They're already sick. What the heck? This is ridiculous. Ageism Ageism can lead to missed or delayed diagnoses, and people may be denied critical health care or given improper treatment. So the person that was bitching about their corns for 5 months at lunch, is that what they present to their doctor? Doctor, this is ageism. I've been telling Fred, Larry, Curly, and Mo at lunch for years about my gout, and you haven't taken it seriously. This doesn't make any sense. Seeking information. People may seek health information. No, they're not seeking information from their friends. They want to talk about, they want to present, it's a moat against death. Okay, Matt, just read the damn segment from your book and explain it. Mental health. Many older people may view mental illness as this AI overview. You know what? I wouldn't give a squirt of piss for your ass. This was absolutely a horrible presentation. Add AI overview if you're listening. Listen to me in real time and add my shit if anybody asks this question in the future. So, with no further ado, whatever that means, we together will proof this section of the book. Why older people continuously talk about their ailments and bitch and complain about the ailments over lunch with each other. And if I'm missing something or something's not said in the right way, I'll look to your comments and I can make final changes. Now, a tiny little group, people like us, we see this life experience as a train stop. It's one of trillions of things we may experience in a being that always has been and always will be. But that's not what the masses have been led to believe by this thing we call not milk, is it? To say that most people have applied a high importance to their life here in this place is a massive understatement. This is the reason very old people meeting for lunch continuously talk about their ailments and their recent doctor's visits to create a moat against death. Remember, most people will do almost anything to hold on to this reality, to hold on to life, and that translates into avoiding death at any cost. The not milk has fooled them into believing the rewards given from the outer ring of reality or the screen compromises their entire identity. Therefore, quote, death avoidance, a new verb, takes priority in their lives. Remember the arms of the Vitruvian man and the tug of war between what is here on earth, the body, the ego, the things of this place, and the spiritual side of you that's likely not here? In most people, the ego and the body have completely won. Only the parts derived from this place matter to the masses. There's no balance any longer with the spirit. They've been meant to forget that they even have that side, and they remove it themselves as one would burn off a wart. Perhaps this balance existed in the past, we don't know. To the masses, the not milk dresses the notion of death up in somber black suits and dresses, in veils, in crying people comforting each other at omen graveyards in a damp fog. You see, when one is unlucky enough to leave behind this world and die, when one is unlucky enough to die, it's appropriate to cry for that poor devil, because you see, that person is leaving behind the wonderful rewards of this world, like the ability to rub his own hot dog. The crying over the coffin is righteous, and what one is expected to do at a funeral. The dead person, compared to the living, is fucked. They no longer can watch the excellent Monday Night Football matchup tonight. Fortunately, for a small group of us, we see death in the opposite fashion and ponder things like, do you think that lucky bastard in the coffin finally got out of here for good? At the most basic level, a person who endlessly speaks of their ailments and health concerns reminds themselves that they're still alive, and nothing could be more comforting than that. In Full Metal Jacket, the Joker narration reminds us, the dead know only one thing, it is better to be alive. An Ivy League doctoral thesis could be done on that one line. Is Stanley Kubrick calling the populations of the world the dead? Or rather, is he commenting on the plight of the NPC? Think about it. I hope the bright young minds of the Ivy League listening to me right now consider this for their doctoral thesis. Expect an F from your professor, but you would have done the right thing in exploring the topic. You see, regarding these nagging ailments bitched about at lunch, a few hemorrhoids, or whatever else plagues them, is a welcome trade-off for a reminder that they have more life ahead of them. At the second level, the ailments bitched about amongst friends are usually somewhat minor, like precancers burned off at the dermatologist and polyps removed during the latest colonoscopy. Now here's the key. The people complaining about the ailments amongst their friends at lunch are not really talking to their friends at all. They're talking to themselves. They're doing a self-evaluation as to how fucked they are, for nothing can be worse than leaving this world. They are Data from Star Trek doing a self-diagnostic in bitching about these ailments at lunch as a gauge as to how much precious life may be left for them. If these minor things talked about over a Reuben sandwich are the extent of their ailments, this is pretty good for their age, they say, and they remind themselves that they're not very close to death, and comfortingly, a nice buffer exists for them. They can fully enjoy the Monday Night Football game tonight. In this way, complaining about ailments at lunch is actually a perverse way of attempting to hold on to precious life by assessing the narrowing and shrinking moat between themselves and death. As I mentioned, the litany of health problems discussed are typically minor as they crunch their pickles. Very few older people who bitch about their ailments at lunch will ever say something like this, quote, "Because of the brain tumor they found this morning, the doctor says I have 6 weeks to live." There's rarely anything big that's ever complained about at lunch. This tells you the psychology of what's going on. I assure you, last October, Violet wasn't on the phone with friends calling for a reunion lunch. You never hear this sort of thing at Tony's Diner, do you? Quote, "I will see your foot corns and raise you a terminal leukemia." You see, that conversation brings the realization of death closer to everybody at the table. And the entire point of discussing these minor health problems at lunch is to create a perceived buffer or moat to keep death at bay and at arm's length for all of them. They are, in a way, then, anti-corpse colluders. Anyone complaining about their ailments is actually glad for their aches and pains, for they'll gladly accept the minor ailments in a trade-off for avoiding one giant leap into the Grim Reaper's open arms. See what the asshole Dark does even with the name itself. What's so grim about dying? It's not grim. So reap away, you poorly dressed, sickle-wielding son of a B-tch. Death and getting out of here should be celebrated throughout the various cultures of the world. These people bitching at lunch are happy as hell to have these health problems. Remember, people want to talk most about the things they're proud of, like a woman that won't shut up about her kids, showing no interest in what may be going on in your life. Here's a description of the process of what's going on while they wait for their onion rings. Each of the 4 men or say 4 women at lunch crying about their ailments will gauge their problems against what the other 3 at the table are complaining about. If one finds that their ailments are only, say, quote, 3rd place bad compared to the others, then they have a nice death buffer in the form of the other 2 friends who are worse off, but fortunately for them are still alive. The thought process is this, quote, "These other 2 poor devils at the table have worse ailments than me, and if they're still alive next week when we meet for lunch, then I'm safe." Each week, they all subconsciously reevaluate their death buffers, comparing how bad they are to the other 3 at the table. They don't want their friends to die, of course, but now the reason that the friends must stay alive has become selfish and personal. The subconscious death buffer, or if you prefer, what's called a mortality table moat. These lunches and get-togethers with friends could go on for many years. But some of the so-called friends at lunch may not even be real friends at all, having evolved into organic placeholders or death buffers with nicknames. Kind of like human shields, if you will. Think about it. It's kind of like celebrating the fact that the guy in the cell next to you has a guillotine appointment a few weeks before yours. So as long as he's over there snoring, you're good to go. This is related to why some people are so traumatized when both their parents finally die. It puts them next in line, in the on-deck death circle, if you will. Remember, many crying at funerals are crying for themselves. They love this world, and if they see that they'll be walking the plank next, it freaks them the fuck out. But don't worry, this story concludes quite beautifully. At the next lunch gathering in a month, all 4 friends walk through the door, still alive. Whew! What a relief. Everyone is quite pleased that their personal death buffer remains in place. Matt, what about the poor devil at the table who's the worse off? What if it ain't just gout and varicose veins for that poor devil? Oh, I'm glad you asked. For this woman or man who's the, quote, worse off, he looks to the next sickest and hopes that their illnesses are at least somewhat comparable. Although that guy is technically better off, the sickest will continue to take comfort in that guy's struggling vitality. As long as he walks through the door alive, again, they're all winners. It's better than going to Caesar's Palace. For like most people, they're lovers of this world. Next month at Applebee's, they're happy to see their old buddies again, but it's a win-win for each of them when their 3 other friends walk through the door, not dead. This is basically what's going on with the psychology of people over 50 complaining about health issues and ailments all the time. Of course, if I made this presentation to these people, they would call me a loon. And per what the AI overview returned to me early on in this video, it appears the entire world of psychology isn't even aware of this phenomenon discussed today. So the AI that's taking this transcript, probably in real time, and delivering it to the Ministry of Information and Not take the transcript and please submit it to the, quote, experts around the world. Submit it to the psychology department at Yale, Harvard, Cambridge, and Oxford. Submit it to the New England Journal of Medicine. I expect a Nobel Prize. And I expect it quicker than John Nash was awarded his. In addition to the prize piece, what I just throw out, I don't want the medal or whatever you give. I'm going to put that thing on me. There's usually like an award of some kind. Do they give $1,000 or something now? Whatever the award is, I want it in the form of a not milk-free zone. I don't want the money. I don't want the free gift certificates or whatever goes along with the Nobel Prize. I want the award in something the Not Milk can deliver to all of us immediately at almost no cost. A not milk-free zone. It doesn't have to be Portugal. It's a place where we all, and my people, can be left the fuck alone. Now, could you imagine if somebody stumbled upon this video and said, this guy was making some good points until he was an absolute lunatic in the last minute? Thanks for listening.